Hey everybody, Rob from Crown of Thorns. Doing kind of an impromptu video, kind of last minute. Just kind of woke up this morning and thought that this would be a good topic to do a short video on. If you've been watching my Facebook pages and the Facebook group that I started, you know that there's a brand new video coming out on Sunday the 25th at 3 o'clock Central Time, because that is the time zone that I am now in. So obviously you haven't seen that video that's going to premiere on Sunday, so I won't give too much away, but since I did mention that the video would premiere at 3 o'clock Central Time, it's only fitting that I would explain that I'm no longer in the Eastern Time Zone. Yes, it's true, we are now in Alabama. Repton, Alabama to be exact. We made the move last week. It was kind of short notice. I won't say too much here because you'll hear more about it in the video that comes on Sunday. Be sure to check that out. There's some really cool footage in that video. I'm pretty much documenting our entire trip from Michigan to Alabama. You know, all the points in between: Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, etc. Some really cool things, and also some good information, and of course the Word of God. So that's what I want to focus on today with this video. It's been hard for me to do videos as of late because of, one, my work schedule that I had, and two, once we found out that the company my wife works for wanted her down here in Alabama ASAP, that really put a crunch on us for time. So yeah, made it hard to make videos, although like I said, I did make one documenting our trip down here. We've been down here for almost a week. Probably today's Thursday, we got down here on Sunday. So I guess about a half a week we've been here. So I wanted to make a quick video, one, just to get something new on the channel, and to hopefully build a little bit of momentum for the video on Sunday. And then next Sunday, which will be July, I don't know what, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, whatever. The first Sunday in July, we'll get back into the study we were doing about the review of the movie Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, and then discussing how the end times are truly going to unfold and what you truly need to do in order to get saved so that you are not left behind when Jesus comes in the clouds. And then from there we're going to dig into well, when is Jesus coming? Is he coming soon? Is it going to be a long time from now? Can we even know? And yes, I've done videos on that before, but I want to dig into that once more. Well, I shouldn't say once more, we might do it again. I want to dig into it once again because we are so close, I believe, to when Jesus comes back. Most Christians will agree that we are in the end times, all right? However, there is disagreement as to when that's going to happen, if we can know when it's going to happen, what to look for, what we should be doing in the meantime. There's a lot of debate over that. So we're going to dig into that for a little bit. And then from there, we'll see what happens. But I want to, now that my schedule is more wide open, I will be able to keep the videos consistent again in front of the whiteboard. And since I'm on that topic, obviously I'm no longer working at the flower shop. That's way up in Michigan. So I have more time. And I'm thinking, and I'm asking for prayer. I'm praying to God, what do you want me to do? I don't want to just sit here and be idle all the time. Yes, I want to keep my schedule open and flexible because my primary concern is to bring this channel back to the forefront, to really make this ministry my number one priority, to make it really go. But that's not a 24/7 type thing. So I'd like to do something else to, one, bring in additional income. That's always nice. It's not always necessary, but it's nice. And also just so that, in between making the videos and putting them together, I'm doing something to stay busy. Idle hands, remember. So I'm praying to God, well, should I get a regular job? Well, then that could cut into my time that I can spend on this channel again. But that may be an option. Or should I get my DJ business going again? Well, there's pros and cons to that as well. The cons being that I do not like a lot of the music that some people request. It makes it really tough. The pros being I'm working for myself, it's good money, and technically speaking, I only work 1 or 2 days a week, which leaves plenty of time open for this channel. So I'm praying on all of that. I ask for your prayers, I'm looking for guidance from God. What should I do? Where should I go? And, just what does God want from me? My wife's already to work. They put her to work right away. The stores down here are a mess, and that's why they wanted my wife down here, so that she can come down here and turn these stores around. And they started her on Tuesday, 2 days ago. And she's got her work cut out for her, but I'm confident that she can do it because she did it in McBain, and I believe that she can do it again. And the lady that she's working for has been impressed so far, so that's good. So God has been good to us. He brought us down here safely. Again, you'll see more of that in the video that comes out on Sunday. Today I want to talk about gossip, and not just gossip as far as like idle chatter or spreading rumors, but also backbiting and betrayal, and just being somebody that's not trustworthy. So we're going to touch on a few verses. The Bible talks a lot about this. And the reason I wanted to talk about it, not so much because it pertains to anything going on in my life right now, but it does pertain to, well, here's the other thing about, the job thing. When you work for a company that you don't own, you're at the will and the control or power of somebody else. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that it's hard for you to set the pace, to set the tone for the environment in which you work. If you own your own business, you're more in control of that. And that's what is important to me. That's very important to me. I just came out of a situation. I worked at that flower shop for almost a year. I think it was a month shy of a year. And I enjoyed the job itself, and there's a couple of people that I worked with that I really like. My friend Jen in particular. But there was a whole lot of gossip and rumor mongering and backbiting and backstabbing and all that kind of stuff, and it reminded me of why I got one of the reasons why I got out of the traditional workforce and why I decided to go into business for myself. And after being there for almost a year, I was on my last nerve. I was at wit's end. There was no help or communication from the people up top who should have been much more involved. And the people that I work with were just, not all of them, and I'm not saying that they're bad people. It's just that most of them, not all, most of them, their whole preoccupation is to talk about the people that they work with that aren't in the room at the moment. And then when that person does show up, now they're buddy-buddy with them. So kind of like being two-faced. And we can all be guilty of that sometimes. I'm not saying that I'm immune to that by any means. But I really try to keep my distance. And that's what I always did. I just kept my distance. Kept everybody kind of at arm's length. If people wanted to vent to me, that's fine. Sometimes I would have to vent. And it's okay to vent. But if you have an issue or a problem with someone, you should talk to them directly. And I've always done that, and it made me unpopular at times. But, oh well. It's not my fault if you can't handle criticism, especially when it's done in a constructive way. I never come at somebody and tell them what a horrible, rotten person they are. What I do is I come to them and I say, look, what you're doing doesn't work for me, or what you're doing is unprofessional, or what you're doing doesn't line up with what our employers have set forth as their guidelines or manifesto or whatever it may be. And sometimes people were receptive to that, and other times they got upset or offended. Again, not my fault. The problem was, even when I took it to those people, they would do it for a short while, then they'd fall right back into what they were doing. So I then took it to the higher ups and explained everything to them. They were very appreciative that I brought it to them. They said, well, once we get through this next holiday, there's going to be some changes made. Okay, fine. That holiday came, that holiday went, no changes. Went to the higher ups again. They then said, well, there's one more big holiday coming up. We just got to get through that one. Once we're through that, there's going to be some big changes. I'm like, all right, fine. That holiday came, that holiday went, nothing. And so finally, I just couldn't do it anymore. There are certain people there that are just totally, I should say one person in particular, is just totally obnoxious, very dramatic, and there's other people that kind of feed into that fall into that, and I just got to say, it's just a situation where I couldn't be a part of it anymore. Now, I'm not saying that about everyone. I'm not saying that everyone there was like that. I'm not. There were a few people that were not, okay? But there were others that were, and it just seemed to be very pervasive. And and I'm trying not to stereotype, but even the gals that work there would say that's what happens when you get a room full of women working together, and it's so true. The Bible talks about that, how a gossiping woman or a nagging woman, it's like the continual drip on the roof of your home. And it talks a lot about gossiping and silly women and whatever else. It's just, and again, it's not only women, it's not always just women. I'm not saying that at all, but it does seem to be more so a female trait than a male trait, okay? And even other gals that I work with said so. I've heard that from many other women who are honest about the whole thing. And so when you do work with a group full of women, that's what you expect. That's what you're just going to have to deal with, I guess. Well, I put up with it for almost a year. I couldn't do it much more. The backbiting, the backstabbing, the gossiping, the rumors, the obnoxiousness, the foul language, the swearing, which, swearing, I'm not going to say it's good. It isn't. It's usually bad. But it doesn't make my ears bleed by any means. And I can deal with swearing far more than people that just tell crude, inappropriate jokes, or always have some sort of sexual innuendo, or, they have that bathroom, middle school mentality or sense of humor where if somebody says a certain word or whatever, they have to always, the mind always goes to the gutter every single time. It's just all of that. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with it anymore. So even if we had stayed in Michigan, I had already made up my mind. I had to get out of the flower shop. I couldn't do it anymore. It's just too much. And again, it's not saying that all the people there are like that. My friend Deb, I love Deb, and Jan, can't say enough good things about Jan. And of course, my friend Jen, she's just, one of the best friends I've ever had, So, anyway, speaking of which, I've been told that this same type of behavior has only escalated since I've been gone. My friend Jen has been targeted by some because she has a good work ethic, and that's really all it comes down to. She has a good work ethic, and those who do not have a good work ethic find her to be intimidating, find her to be, they find her to be someone that's going to make them look bad because she works and they don't. All right, and so their means of getting back at her is to is to talk about her, slander her, make up stories about her, all while she's right there. I mean, they do it secretively off in the corner, but she's not deaf, she's not dumb. She knows what's going on. She knows that they're talking about her and saying this and that and whatever else. Just childish behavior. These are grown women, and this is what they do. This is what they do. Again, not all of them, but a lot of them. And I don't like that they're targeting my friend. I don't like that they've come at her so much that she's just getting frustrated and hurt. You know, it's not right. You shouldn't have to go to work wondering, what are they going to say about me today? What kind of day will I have? How are they going to treat me? That's insane. That's ridiculous. No one should have to deal with that. So I wanted to do a video about that, kind of in response to that, but also just because I think it's in our world as a whole today. This whole notion that if you and I don't agree on a particular topic, then we have to be enemies. No. I have some people that I get along with just fine that have views that are completely different than mine. I don't agree with them. I don't condone what they believe. We know that we don't agree on stuff, but we're both civil and human enough to still just be able to get along, to find the areas where we do agree, and let's just focus on that when we're together and have a good time and be able to converse in a civil manner. And that has been completely lost in our society as of late. So I'm going to get started on these verses because, as I said, we're in Alabama. I turned the air off so that it's not so loud in the camera, but it's getting warm in here really fast and humid. It's almost 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's hot and humid already. And also, you might hear a lawnmower in the background. The guy, by the way, the people that own this place, fantastic people, married couple, Ricky and Odessa, fantastic people. They've been so helpful. One of the neighbor guys, young fella, has been really helpful too. His name's Steven. Been really, really helpful. Everybody down here has been so helpful and friendly. I love the South. Love the South. So anyway, if you hear a lawnmower, that's Ricky. He's mowing the campground. All right. So let's take a look at a few verses. Go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. It says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." If you're talking bad about people behind their back, if you're gossiping about people, if you're spreading rumors about them, if you're trying to make someone look bad in order to make yourself look good, that says a whole lot about you. More about you than it does about the person you're talking about. And especially for a Christian, what it says here, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, that it may be good to the use of edifying." Edify means to build up. We should be building each other up, not trying to tear each other down. Look, even if I don't like what you're doing, even if I don't like what you're saying or whatever else, if I completely disagree with what you're doing, I don't have to tear you down. I can speak to you and ask you to change or make adjustments. If you say no, okay, let's just work or get along as best that we can. But I don't have to go around talking poorly about you or saying bad things about you. Now, if somebody asks me my opinion about you, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say, well, he or she, is nice enough, but they tell dirty jokes, they gossip, they spread rumors. I'm going to lay it all out there. Why not? I believe in full disclosure. But that's not what we should emphasize. That's what we should be focused on. We should try to build each other up. Okay? First and foremost, especially if you're a Christian. That it may minister grace unto the hearers. Your behavior could affect whether or not a non-believer, someone who's not saved, it could affect whether or not they come to Christ. If they see a Christian doing all the things that unsaved people do, that's not a good advertisement. That's not a good billboard. They're going to look at it like, why do I want to be like that? You're just like all these other people who are not Christians. Why would I want to be a part of that? And it's a valid point. We need to be billboards for Christ. All of us. And we all need to do better. We all need to present ourselves in a Christ-like manner. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. That means dirty jokes, gossip, rumors, backbiting, backstabbing, all that stuff. Don't do it. Just stay away from that. All right, let's go to Proverbs 16. Proverbs chapter 16, we're going to look at verse 28. Proverbs 16:28 says, "A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends." A froward man means somebody that's cantankerous, ornery, mean, just hostile. That type of person, okay, soweth strife. They're trying to always cause trouble. They're trying to create friction between people. And that's what it says. A whisperer separateth chief friends. A person who likes to spread rumors or lie or manipulate can make even the best of friends turn on each other. Because you start to listen to what that person says. It starts to seep into your mind, and then you start to question, well, maybe they're right. Maybe that person that I consider to be my best friend, maybe they're not so good after all. Maybe what this other person is saying has some truth to it. That's the problem. That kind of person, they enjoy creating strife. They enjoy creating friction between people, especially between good friends. They like to see friendships fail. There are people that are like that. It's so bewildering to me. It's so sad and unfortunate, but there are people like that. And you have to be aware. You have to beware of people like that. The Bible warns about it. Go just a couple chapters back, Proverbs 11, verse 13. "A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter." When you think that you can trust someone and you take your issues, your venting, or whatever else to them, are you sure they're not going to go and tell everybody what you just said? That's what it's saying here. A talebearer revealeth secrets. A talebearer is somebody that can't keep a secret. And I'm not saying that you should go around telling secrets about people and make them look bad, but there are times when you need to vent. You're like, that person really upset me today, and I think they did it on purpose, etc., etc. And you're venting. You're talking to someone that you trust, and you're hoping that they're not going to go and tell everyone else about it, because if they do, it can make the problem even bigger. Yes, you should go to that person directly and talk to them as well, and maybe you have, or maybe you're going to. But there's nothing wrong with having a friend that you can talk to about things that are happening in your life. All right? But just make sure it's someone that you can really trust, because if you talk to someone that you think you can trust and they turn out to be a tale bearer, they're going to tell your stuff to everyone and anyone, and it's going to create big problems for you. "But he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter." A good friend will listen to what you have to say, offer you some advice, but they'll know to keep it to themselves. They're not going to go and tell it to the person that they see next. They're not going to go and spread it around, put it in the newspaper, put it on Facebook, or whatever else. Those are the people you need to have in your life, and I tell you, they're harder and harder to find, harder and harder to come by. And you have to use discernment, because some people will present themselves, Jesus said, wolves in sheep's clothing. Sometimes you think, oh, that's the person I can trust them with anything, and then they betray you. And then you become jaded, and then you get to the point where you just don't trust anyone, and that's not a good place to be either. You have to use discernment. You have to be careful. And here's the thing too. It's okay to vent to someone. It's okay to talk about problems or about another person that's bothering you. But the thing is, you should always go directly to that person. That way if the person you are talking to does betray you, the person you are talking about can't say, oh, you're saying this up behind my back, because you will have already addressed the issue with them anyhow. And that's how I am. If I talk to Bob about Jack, rest assured, I've already told Jack everything that I'm about ready to tell Bob. I'm just talking to Bob saying, look, I need to vent, and just so you know, I've already talked to Jack about this, I'm not saying this to make him look worse or whatever else. I'm talking to you because I need to vent. And I want to tell you what's going on. I want to tell you why I have a problem with Jack. All right? But if Bob does go and run his mouth to everyone, I can't be accused of being a rumor monger or gossiping or whatever else, because I already addressed it with Jack. I already told him my issues, my complaints, my concerns with him. And that's what we need to do. All of us should always be doing that. All right, go to Titus. We're going to look at chapter 3. Titus chapter 3. Verse 2. Says, to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. To speak evil of no man. Now, how does that fit into what I just said? Well, I can talk about my issues with Jack, my complaints, my concerns, or whatever else, but I don't have to, again, bury the guy. I don't have to try to make him look worse than he already is and make up stuff. I don't have to be obnoxious when I'm talking to Bob about this. I don't have to tear Jack down or to make myself feel better. There's a difference. And again, it's just discernment. Don't speak evil of people. Don't, especially if it's not true. Don't make up stuff about people. And that's the problem, is that people are never content to just say, you know what, Mary, she's a problem with gossiping and it bothers me. It always has to escalate and be something more. You know, Mary's a gossiper. She spread rumors. I heard that she even whatever, and it becomes exaggerated and much bigger than what it really and truly is. Don't do that. Just be content. If you have a concern or a problem with someone, leave it at that. You don't have to make it worse in order for other people to agree with what. And that's the problem too, is that people want misery loves company. So if somebody is talking bad about another person, they want other people to also agree. They have to build alliances. Well, I don't like Mary, so Joe, Barb, Sally, you can't like her either. And let me tell you why. And if what you tell them isn't good enough for them, then you're going to exaggerate. Well, okay, that didn't bother you. But she also, that's the problem. And man, I see it so often. I saw it so much at work. Again, not everyone, but there were some. And you see it just in life in general. You see it on TV. You see it in the news, the media, the politicians, all of them. They're never content to just say, oh, politician A made this poor policy. They then have to make it even bigger. And now the whole world is burning. Yeah, it's just like, is it really? Is it really that bad? Sometimes, yeah. But I just find that we tend to exaggerate. We tend to have to escalate it so that we can build more empathy and sympathy. We want those alliances. And you have to be real careful about that. Excuse me. What else? But gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. Yes, we should show meekness. We should come to people under the assumption that they're a good person. And don't let other people form your opinion for you about a person, especially when you've never met. And they say, oh, listen, you've never met Joe, but let me tell you something. He's this, 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 and this. And now you go in with a preconceived notion. You never gave Joe a chance, one, to explain himself or to defend himself, but two, you never let him stand on his own merit. You went by what this other person told you. Don't do that. That's meekness. I'm not coming at you with an attitude, with a preconceived notion, with malice or anger because I've heard about you, buddy. Don't do that. Now, and then it says, showing meekness unto all men. Look, that Jesus said, turn the other cheek, and we should. We should be to love your enemies, to love those who will despitefully use you, all that stuff. But turn the other cheek. How many cheeks do you have? I have two. Most people only have two. There's a certain point in time when you just have to cut people off, or when the meekness needs to be set aside, and you need to take a little more coarser action towards someone. Okay, that's why Jesus said, "Turn the other cheek." Well, you only have two. What then? Well, he didn't say. So I'm saying, well, I guess it's up to me to decide what to do at that point. Now, I'm not a brawler, as it says here. I'm not somebody that goes out looking for a fight. But I will do whatever I have to protect my own integrity, and especially that of my wife, my kids, my family, my friends, etc., I will fight. I will do whatever it takes. I will defend the cause of Christ by all means, okay? But on the whole, we should approach people in meekness, okay? But sometimes that doesn't work, and then you have to go to plan B. All right, let's go to James chapter 1. James chapter 1. We're going to look at verse 26. James 1:26 says, "If any man among you seem to be religious, and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is in vain." First of all, and remember, James is talking primarily to Jews that are going through the tribulation period, but we can glean some stuff from James, absolutely, and apply it to us. This whole notion of religion, because, again, he's talking to Jews, and the Jews are very much about religion, religious rites, religious ceremonies, religious this. So that's who he's talking to. So first and foremost, Christianity, thank God, isn't a religion. People like to classify it as such, but it's not. It's really more about a relationship. It's about being in the body of Christ. It's less about rituals and rites and you have to do this, have to do that. That's all gone, thank God. So I throw out the notion of religion already anyway. But the point that James is making is, whether it's religion or your relationship with Christ, are you reflecting that in how you talk? Are you reflecting that in how you treat others? Are you reflecting that in your day-to-day life? At your job or whatever else? There are some people that seem very religious or very Christian outwardly. Inside, they've got all kinds of malice and hatred and envy and whatever else. And look, they present themselves one way, but sure as all get out, at some point, their true colors will manifest. And then you're going to say, wow, they proclaim all this stuff. And I'm not saying that it doesn't mean they're not really saved. If you're saved, you're saved. But a lot of people are very hypocritical. They'll say all kinds of stuff to make you think that they're a great person and that they would never do A, B, C, D, and E. And then when their true colors come out, you then realize they've been doing A, B, C, D, and E, and F, G, H, I, J, and K as well. That doesn't jive with what they're presenting themselves as. Two-faced, hypocrites. John called them a brood of vipers, okay? And he called them hypocrites too. So did Jesus. Those are people that present themselves one way, but their true intentions, their true self are completely different. It's completely different. You have to watch out for people like that too. See what else it says. Bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart. They can lie to themselves. They'll even make themselves believe, I'm not that bad. I don't lie a lot. I don't lie. Knowing that they do. That almost every other sentence is a lie. They're lying to themselves. They deceive themselves in their own heart. But their tongue gives them away. Their actions give them away. Don't be that kind of person. There are a lot of people out there like that. Name any politician. Okay? Any politician. I don't care who they are. That's them right there. Okay? They present themselves one way, but their true self is usually something completely different. All right, let's go back to 1 Timothy. And we'll go to chapter 5. 1 Timothy chapter 5, and let's look at verse 13. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. Now, that goes back to what I was saying before about wanting to have some work to do. It's not about if I need money or not. That's beside the point. The real intention, the real reason that I want to work, one, is I think it's good to work. Okay? Whether you need the money or not, you should work. Two, so you don't become idle. Idle hands, idle mind. You do that and you start to get into trouble. You start to create stuff. They learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers. Those are people that go and tell your business to everyone, even though you ask them not to. Busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. Again, rumors, gossiping, backbiting, backstabbing, being manipulative, having to build those alliances, all that stuff factors in. That's what Paul is telling or talking to Timothy about. Those are the kind of people that you need to stay away from, but more so than that, that's the kind of person that you should not be. And we all carry some of those traits. We're human. We have that. We all are guilty of this at different times. Try as hard as you can, as hard as we can, as hard as I can, to stay away from that, to push it away, to find something better to do with your time. There's so many other things that we could be doing with our time, yes? Making more videos, reading our Bible more often, handing out tracts. There are so many things that we could be doing for the cause of Christ. That alone will keep you occupied from now until the day that you die. But there's other things you can do too. Work, go on trips, go on vacations, do something productive. Do something that can help yourself, the people around you, complete strangers. Don't try to tear people down. Build them up. And if somebody is somebody like this, then just separate yourself from them. That's what I did. I finally just separated myself from that situation. I was just done. Couldn't do it anymore. And again, I'm not without fault. I'm not saying that at all. I'm sure there's things that they could say about me. Some would be true. Most of it would be made up, just based off some of the people that work there. But yes, I'm not perfect by any means, and I fall into this stuff sometimes as well. But there are some people who their whole life is based on that, based around that. They thrive on that kind of stuff. Don't do that. Don't be that person, and get away from it. Because remember, evil company corrupts good communication or good habits. Okay, it's like the rotten fruit. It will spoil the rest of them. Stay away from that. Stay away from it, because eventually it starts to wear off. It starts to rub off on you, and before you know it, you're exactly like them. Not always. Sometimes, especially if you're strong in your faith, you've been a Christian for a long while, you can walk into a room of people like that and not let them get to you, not let them rub off on you. But still, just for the sake of your sanity and your well-being, I would personally just stay away from those kind of people anyway. I mean, what good is it to have them around or have them in your life? Now, you can be some good to them. That's why I'm not saying to cut them off completely. You don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to go shopping with them or whatever else, but you can still interact with them and be meek and be kind, and hopefully that will rub off on them. That's what the goal is, right? All right, a couple of more. Go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Verse 20. For I fear lest when I come I shall not find you such as I would, and that I shall be found unto you such as you would not, lest there be debates, envyings, wraths, strifes, backbitings, whisperings, swellings, tumult. Paul was concerned that when he came back to the Corinthians, that he wouldn't find them as he had left them. When Paul went to Corinthia the first time, the Corinthians were vile, horrible people. In fact, a lot of times, if they wanted to describe a woman who was less than desirable, who had no moral compass, who maybe was a prostitute or this or that or whatever, they called them, the insult was, well, you're a Corinthian girl. Even if they really weren't, but that was an insult. That gives you an idea as to what the Corinthians were like. Paul went in there, he got a church started, those people got saved, all right, and they started to turn their lives around. But what he was getting back, these reports he was getting back, and one of the stories I've talked about before, the guy that was having an affair with his father's wife, okay, that's the kind of stuff that was happening. And he's getting these reports back, and he's saying, I'm afraid that when I get there, you're not going to be the same as when I left and you were doing so well. I'm afraid you've fallen back into your old bad habits. And then he lists them out. Debates, envyings, wraths, strifes, backbitings, whisperings, swellings, tumults. He said, I'm afraid I'm going to walk back into a hornet's nest. All right? And that's the problem. See, the problem is that the Corinthians were an island. The saved Corinthians were an island unto themselves, and that most of Corinth, I don't know, I keep saying Corinthians, sorry, Corinth, um, was still violent, evil. And these were younger Christians, and maybe they hadn't had enough time to grow in their faith. Those other unsaved Corinthians influenced them to come back into those old habits. That's why you have to be careful, especially as a young Christian, as a new Christian. You have to really watch who you hang out with, watch who your companions are, because they will lead you down some really bad paths, and you'll find yourself right back to where you were prior to your salvation. Now, again, you don't lose your salvation. Paul made that clear. That guy that had the affair with his father's wife, hey, we're going to turn him over to Satan so that he's going to die. He needs to be dead because he's a bad billboard for Christ, but he's still saved, so he can go to heaven. He's still going to heaven. That's a powerful lesson right there. But the point is here, people that like debate. Now, I'm not talking about a political debate, or if you're debating creation versus evolution. Those are fine. Debates where it's just for the sake of being cantankerous, for the sake of arguing. Okay, envyings. That's like being covetous. If you envy someone, all right, wraths, strifes. We talked about that. Backbiting. Well, I don't know what that is. Whisperings. That's the gossiping. Swellings and tumult. Being tumultuous. Okay. People that make your life tumultuous, you need to get them away from you. All right, get away from them. So anyway, guys, let's do one more. And I think this is the one that kind of summarizes everything. And everybody's familiar with this, even people that are not saved. Go to Luke chapter 6. All right, I'm going to look at verse 31. Luke 6:31 says, "And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise, or do unto others as you would have them do unto you." The golden rule. That's really the best thing you can do. And again, that goes with the, don't let other people form your opinion about someone. Don't have these preconceived notions. Approach people with meekness, with an open mind. Form your own opinion about someone. Don't let somebody else influence. All right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. How would you like to be treated? With respect, with dignity, right? Then do that for others. Give them the chance. Now, if they betray that, again, I'm not saying, well, treat them like dirt. No, just separate yourself from them. You can still be civil, though. You can still be kind. Even if they're not doing that to you, that's not what it says here. It says, do unto them as you would have them do unto you. Not do unto them what they're doing to you. No. Do unto them as you would have them do unto you, whether they're doing it or not. That's called being the bigger person, the bigger man, so to speak. All right? The golden rule. And like I said, everybody's familiar with that. And that's something that you can apply. Even people that are not saved will say, yeah, that's a good verse. That's good advice. All right? So if you're doing that, then you're a good billboard for Christ. You'll get some of those unsaved people. They'll start wondering, what is it about that person? I want that. There's your opportunity to hopefully bring them to Christ. Right? Right. All right, guys. I got to turn the air back on. I'm sweating. And it's only 11:20, and it's gone up 3 degrees in this camper just since I started doing this video 43, almost 44 minutes ago. But anyway, guys, just wanted to have a little chat with you. And again, please watch the video on Sunday. It's pretty interesting. And then, again, just come back every Sunday to watch the videos. We're going to get into some really good stuff now that I have more time. We're going to have the whiteboard out. We're going to dig into some deep, really good Bible studies. So come back. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit your notification bell. Tell your friends to do the same. All right? Let's grow this ministry. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about YouTube. Don't care about any of that. I just want to see people get saved. I want them to come to the truth. And the farther these videos go, the greater the chances are that we'll reach some people that are not there yet. Right? All right, guys. I hope you all have a great day. I hope all is well for you. Hey, leave some comments below about this video, about what's going on in your life, about scenarios, situations. If you need prayer, whatever else, leave it below. I love that. Love it. I always try to reply to people. If people ask for prayer, I certainly do it. Because we ask for prayer. I ask for prayer. All right. So anyway, guys, take care and God bless.